I started the organization along with a couple other patients back in, I think, 2009. We got together. What we had found in Canada was there was no organizations for melanoma or skin cancers out there like there were for other predominant cancers. And when I say that, I like to let the audience know that melanoma is the seventh most commonly occurring cancer in Canada. So it is in the top 10, and skin cancers altogether provide the #1 cancer worldwide in terms of numbers of diagnosis. So it's a very significant diagnosis, a very significant and very common form of cancer. However, it can be very deadly as well. And so having been diagnosed with melanoma, I found that there were no resources out there for melanoma patients in terms of information. There wasn't websites like we have today, support services, etc. So going through the diagnosis, I was kind of left in the dark, and I think a lot of the patients that I had connected with, which weren't many at the time, I felt as well that they had a sense of isolation and lack of connectedness, lack of information. So I kind of made a pledge to myself at the time that if I made it out of this in one piece and alive, that I would do something to try to change that landscape and provide information, resources, and support services for melanoma patients. So that all came about in 2009, and with some very limited funding and some resources from my own company at the time, we pledged $25,000 and got the organization started. And it's grown enormously since then. We've got a wide network right across the country of patients and worldwide that we connect with on a regular basis. And that's where it all got started. Well, that comes back to the founding of the organization. I felt very strongly that there needed to be more educational resources out there, not only for patients, but for medical professionals as well. Because even though this is a very common form of cancer, it's a very, very deadly form of skin cancer. And what I also found is there were a lot of medical professionals and physicians that didn't have a great background or understanding. And also, given the time in 2009, there weren't a lot of treatments other than surgery that were effective for melanoma, where, contrasting that against other types of cancers, there were fairly effective treatments with chemotherapies. That just didn't work for melanoma patients. So there was a really a big gap in information and providing information about treatment, survivability of the disease. And I guess, more so as well, there was no support services. I was having to dial into US conversations and websites and such. And I just felt that there was such a strong need for that here that had to be provided. So right now, I think Melanoma Canada has one of the most robust um, resource databases that is out there. Certainly from a website, we have just a ton of valuable information. I think there's nothing really missing on there. We've covered pretty well everything from treatment to support to, dealing with a diagnosis, having a family member diagnosed. We've got information on dealing with the critical illness part of it, and people do pass from this disease, so there are a lot of resources that are needed at that time as well. So we provide not only some of the best educational resources in the country, but we also provide we're one of the few organizations that actually has an on-staff support person. She's trained in cancer coaching and is also a social worker. And Mary is just such a valuable asset to us and to the patient community in fielding calls from patients, caregivers, and medical professionals that need our services. So we do provide education as well around sun safety and sun awareness, because this is one of the few cancers as well that can oftentimes be spotted in advance. It shows up on the skin versus other types of cancers that will, be more internally focused. Melanoma initially, for the most common forms of melanoma and skin cancers, they show up on the skin first. So if people are educated and medical professionals are educated at what to look for. And the more important part of that is prevention as well. If they know what to look for, they know how to prevent it. We feel very strongly that we can turn the tide on this disease and see a significant drop in the numbers of melanomas and skin cancers diagnosed in the next decade. And we'd love to see that happen. So our resources are very, very needed. They're always evolving, and we're always trying to look for new ways to connect with the public and the patient community to let them know about us and about what we are able to do to help guide them and coach them through this journey. But very proud of what we've been able to accomplish so far. I also think when people are diagnosed, there's sometimes this a hesitancy to reach out and connect with others. But having been through this journey myself, and I've spoken to literally tens of thousands of people in the last, almost 20 years about this disease. And it can be very isolating. And there are, that percentage of the population that feels that maybe they don't need support, or they're scared, or that, they're going through a stressful diagnosis and perhaps having some anxiety around the diagnosis itself, which is very, very common. And some people are hesitant to reach out and see about connecting with another, or using some of our resource services. We have a lot of support webinars where people can join in together and ask questions and generally support each other. We have peer-to-peer support programs as well. And what I would suggest is that we hear a lot about mental health these days, and we've heard a lot about that in the past few years, and particularly with COVID having created additional challenges for cancer patients and other types of patients. Mental health, it cannot be underestimated as an important aspect of overall health. And being able to connect, to talk to somebody, to get the proper resources, and find out what type of resources we have, and perhaps connect with another patient that's been through it. It can be extremely valuable in helping manage stress, anxiety, and that is connected. There's that mind-body connection. Stress, we know, is a amplifier of cancer and ill health. And so if you can do things to try to alleviate that, and if that is by searching out the resources and connecting with people, people shouldn't be hesitant to do so. Men sometimes hesitate. They feel like you have to be strong, and it's a sign of weakness to perhaps admit that you do need to have some support. But it absolutely is not the case. And we're much stronger and we're much smarter when we reach out and look for opportunities to connect with each other and know that we're not alone in this journey. Visit our website and check these out. But some of the common ones that I hear, it happens, every year about this time, where we get, you see comments from people out there about getting a base tan or get that healthy glow and such too. Well, we know for a fact that any changes in the color of your skin, not just burning in the sun, but even tanning in itself, is causing skin damage, which can in fact contribute to developing skin cancer, melanoma, or at the very least age your skin and cause premature wrinkling and thickening of the skin as well. So we know that exposure to the sun is not healthy in many respects. Yes, there is a vitamin D component to it, but it's not sufficient for your overall health. And what is much more healthy is to take a supplement vitamin D, especially in North America here, where we spend so much time indoors in the winter. Vitamin D is an absolute essential nutrient, and I recommend that people talk to their physician about that. It's a very cost-effective way to get your vitamin D without having to expose yourself to UV radiation from the sun. It's not the warmth and the glow of the sun. We all know that we need that, and it improves your overall mental health and your well-being. And we encourage people to get outside and enjoy the outdoors, but to do it safely. And that's to, wear a hat wherever possible that shades your neck and ears and nose and your face. Cover up whenever possible with clothing that is either UPF, has a high UPF, a protection rating on it, or that you can't see through when you hold it up to the sunlight. Wearing sunglasses protects your eyes from UV damage. UV ultraviolet radiation from the sun is the #1 cause of early cataracts in people. So you also have to protect those eyes. And then, seeking shade, staying out of the hot midday sun is incredibly important. This time of year when we're seeing, sun coming out, but still cold, it's amazing that we can still get burnt because people associate heat with getting sunburns or tans. But you and I know that if you're even out gardening or doing some outdoor activities on a day where it's cold or it's windy, you can still get a lot of sun exposure and damage. So it's important to pay attention to the UV rating that you're given every day. You can find that on pretty well any weather app or from Environment Canada, at what index the UV radiation level is for your area. Anything at a UV 3 or above requires some sort of intervention, should I say, as far as sunscreen or cover up, depending on your skin tone. If the darker skin tones do have, in fact, some increased level of protection because of the melanin in the skin that gives darker skin tones the color. However, dark skin tones can also burn and be subject to other forms of skin cancers. So we recommend that everybody pay attention to the UV index, to the need for cover up and prevention. So I hate to hear those words about getting that base tan, probably more than anything. Um, um, we also hear a lot about, sunscreens being dangerous or ingredients being dangerous and such. And, the sunscreen products that we have available are, regulated by Health Canada. Most of them have a drug identification number. And we also know that, they're tested and deemed effective at preventing skin cancer in many cases if they have protection for UVA and UVB rays. So important to look for, good quality ingredients. If you prefer more natural ingredients, whatever works, as long as you have a good sun protection factor rating for the product, it's all the best sunscreen you're going to get is the one you'll actually wear. May 29th is our annual walk, Strides for Melanoma. It occurs right across Canada. We've had to modify things a little bit in the last couple of years, as you can imagine. We haven't been able to meet at site locations across the country. So once again, this year we're doing a virtual walk. And you can walk in your own neighborhood, you can get a group together or do it on your own, ride a bike, do whatever, hike, roller skate. We're encouraging people to get outdoors safely, and to make it a fun day. This also creates awareness for people when you're out and about. We get t-shirts, we can have other things with our logos on it. We certainly want to get the messaging out about sun safety as well. So that message is important, and sending them to our website for further information. But we also have a really great website that has great fundraising tools, and people can participate and really get a sense of community and involvement and doing something that's going to help cancer patients, not only today, but hopefully tomorrow. And to see those numbers come down in melanoma and skin cancer would make 13 years of this walk that much more important and special for all of us.